And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friends, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, for which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full, I traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blow and did it my way.
Hey, what's up? My name is Dave, and as you know, I interpret everything, and as you could probably have guessed, today I'm interpreting Better Man, which is a movie that had a lot of buzz at the end of 2024. It is a musical slash biographical film, and it has its own kind of little gimmick that a lot of biographical musical films have been getting most recently. A couple of movies come to mind in terms of biographical musical films that were both kind of musicals and a true story at the same time, and that was Rocket Man and Bohemian Rhapsody. But this is even more different because of the gimmick, basically, that this story that tells the story of Robbie Williams is playing himself, and they just decided for some odd reason to make him a CGI monkey. There is a lot of things going on in this film that I think was incredibly smart, but there's also a movie that I didn't love at the same time. So let's break down those positives. You can say whatever you want to say about musicals. You can love musicals, you could hate musicals, but what you kind of have to appreciate is that musicals, or I guess specifically in the subgenre of biographical musicals, are constantly redefining their own genre. They are constantly making risks and bold steps that a lot of movies out there just aren't anymore. So many people out there are going to the movies right now expecting the next film that they see to be exactly like the last film that they saw, and for good reason. A lot of movies out there, a lot of production companies, whatever, they are making movies that are safe, that they know get people's butts in seats, and they know people will in general like enough to spend money again to see the same type of movie again, which is one of the big reasons why superhero fatigue is a thing. But musicals, biographical musicals, keep doing this thing where they're like, let's take an extra leap forward and do something crazy and see if it pans out. And it really is crazy because there's every chance in the world people would see a movie like this come out and they're like, no, why would I want to see that movie when they're just randomly making this guy a monkey and not even explaining it? Well, it is very metaphorical in terms of how he sees himself, how he either loves himself or loathes himself at certain points in his life. Being a monkey means that his character literally and figuratively sticks out like a sore thumb. He starts off in the very beginning of this movie with so much ego and confidence in himself that he believes that he stands out against other people. So, in a way, the monkey makes sense. But in the same time, he has a lot of these self-loathing moments in his life, or self-doubt, where he feels alone and isolated. Again, it's like the opposite of standing out like a sore thumb, but only in the bad way this time, where he's alone and nobody can understand him. So making him this animal for the movie strangely makes a lot of sense, especially metaphorical. Never once do they mention that he looks like an animal, so I guess to them, he just looks like everybody else. It's just how he feels about himself throughout the runtime of the movie. How I would have probably directed it visually, I probably would have eventually had him transform a little bit at a time so that at the very end of the movie, he looks like the actual real Robbie Williams performer, as a way of kind of self-actualization, self-understanding of who you are as a human being and everything. So there's that aspect of the film. The other aspects of the film that I think were well done was just kind of the musical scores. A lot of the choreography in the film is really well done. A lot of the cinematography in the film likewise is pretty darn good. The performances all around, I think, were worth noting. I do believe that the film stands out as something that people should at least once give it a shot. What about some negatives? Well, there's a couple of main negatives for me. One of the main negatives really kind of comes down to the fact that I have no idea who Robbie Williams is. Not a freaking clue. So right from the get-go, I didn't have enough interest to watch this. The only real reason that I did was because a friend and fellow, YouTuber has seen the movie 4 times in theater and would have seen it more times. That alone tells me, well, gosh darn, I gotta check out the movie and see what all the hubbub is all about. And you know what? It's a well-done movie, but I would never in a million years see it more than once in theater. Yeah, I'm sorry, Anthony, if you're watching. I just wouldn't do that. Also, Robbie Williams' music, it's not really my cup of tea. Again, it is fine. I'm very picky when it comes down to music, though. When I was much younger, I used to love basically everything that I listened to. But as I grew older, I started to limit those things that I listened to and those things that I appreciated listening to. And for me, a lot of the music in the film was just okay. Nothing about the music actually stood out to me as, oh God, I hate it. Pretty much everything, though, was, it's fine. But if it were me, and if I were making a movie, I probably wouldn't make a movie about that music. The idea about the artist being a monkey, that's pretty cool. And I think that that's ingenious. And I do believe if they didn't make that decision, this movie would be insanely boring to me. Because at the end of the day, past the music that I thought was just okay, I also thought that the story was just okay. About his life story. I think that he grew up having a lot of ego. And right now in the world, I don't need to hear about any more famous people that have an egotistical problem. I get that part of the story was kind of learning that that's not what it's always about, right? You kind of learn a little bit as you go along that sometimes family is a little bit more important, sometimes being there is more important, and I get that the movie was trying to go towards these messages, but because it started on the foundation of this person or this character who was all about themselves and didn't care about anybody else, basically, other than maybe their dad, it just kind of got on my nerves a little bit. I didn't really care about the character. Overall, would I watch it again? Probably not, but I do appreciate the movie as is. A lot of the decisions that it made, a lot of the technical areas of the film I thought were incredibly well done. But in general, when it comes down to those biographical musical films that we've gotten in the past and we've gotten now, I would rather watch Rocket Man or Bohemian Rhapsody. Okay, I just would. That's not to say that Better Man wasn't the best musical of 2024, because I do believe that it is. But that's not saying much, because I can't think of a year when I was trying to find out which musical was the best of the year. Usually you only really got one main choice, and some years you don't get any choice at all. So I'm just saying it's not that much of an argument to say it's the best musical of the year. I do believe it has entertaining moments. I do believe some of the songs were okay. I do believe that it passes time more or less adequately. I think that it was a little bit too long for its own good. But overall, I don't understand the hype. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a rating of B-, right? It is an adequate film. It is made pretty well, from a technical standpoint. I can understand fans of Robbie Williams watching the film and being like, yeah, pretty decent, pretty cool, pretty awesome movie. I love it. And then you can have people like me who watch it and are like, well, hey, it's a movie. Pretty cool, I guess. Again, Anthony, I'm sorry for disappointing you, but I didn't hate it. So there is that. Guys, I want to hear your thoughts about Better Man in the comment section down below. Have you seen it? Are you a fan of musicals? Are you a fan of Robbie Williams? Have you even heard of Robbie Williams? Because I certainly have not. And if you haven't heard of Robbie Williams, are you now interested in checking out what he's all about because of the movie. Let me know. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next movie review, whenever and whatever that may be on. And until then, peace out.